We're going to move on to the Bias Plus reports, and we're going to kick this thing off with the Thursday night matchup. Thursday night football. That's the only, it's really great, man. You finish Monday, get a couple of days to kind of get your head together, and then Thursday is right here, and we're ready to go at it. So we have the Indianapolis Colts visiting the Denver Broncos. They're going to go up in the Mile High Stadium. And the Broncos are favored with a bias plus score of 8.2, favoring those Denver Broncos. Russell Wilson, Matty Ice. I understand that the Colts will be without their all-pro running back. Denver's trying to figure out why their running backs are fumbling the ball away the way they do. But the Broncos are favored. So for Thursday night football, Benny, who you got?
Well, let's see. Let's look at some analysis. Oh, and by the way, before I talk about what each team did last week, the Broncos are also down their starting running back, Javonte Williams, who's actually out for the entire season.
For the season, I know.
Yeah, I think he's got an ACL and an LCL, so that's tough. It's going to be a tough rehab for him too. But keep our fingers crossed for him. So anyway, in the offseason, the Colts brought in veteran quarterback Matty Ryan to game manage a run-centric offense that's led by their number one running back, Jonathan Taylor. He's actually number one running back, or was the number one running back in the league last season, even over Derrick Henry. They now find themselves leaning on Ryan far more than they wanted to because their run game is no longer dominant. I don't think it's completely on Jonathan Taylor, but I'm also not sure if it's completely on the offensive line. I know they've made some changes. They lost a couple of starters, two to be specific. One guy actually went to the Giants, and one guy they just didn't re-sign. I don't think he retired, but they just didn't re-sign him for whatever reason. He started last year, and now he's gone. So I don't know what to make of that thing. But something that was once dominant for the Colts is now not dominant at all. The Broncos in the offseason brought in a quarterback too, and they blessed him with a solid run game and a nice young receiving core that was full of promise. But Russell Wilson's just not living up to his expectations. He's just not. Last weekend's game against the Rams was actually one of his most efficient games, but the offense only scored once on 6 second-half drives. So they had 6 offensive drives in the second half, and they only scored 1 touchdown. That's not going to get it done. I cannot believe in Russell Wilson. He has not done enough for me. I think the Colts are actually going to go into Mile High and pull this one out. I'm picking the Colts.
Now, how much are you putting on Russ versus that coaching staff he has?
Well, obviously the head coach has been struggling with game management. They brought somebody in to sit up in the booth and help him with that. As far as the other coaching is concerned, the defense isn't quite as good as they seemed to be early on, I don't think. But they're a little bit more solid than what I'm seeing on the offensive side of the ball. I got to blame Russ. This receiving core is actually on paper really nice. Now, they did lose Javonte Williams. Melvin Gordon is the guy that has fumbleitis. So we got to see how he does carrying the run game. And they got another young guy named Mike Boone who will probably take up the slack and get some carries also. But things weren't going well for them offensively. I don't see how losing Javonte Williams is going to help. It can only hurt. It can only hurt. Until Russ starts making better connections with these receivers, it's just not going to happen.
Well, both teams are in the negative in terms of net points. Denver coming in at minus 0.3 and Indianapolis at -7. So obviously that favors Denver. They're less negative. Denver scoring 16.5 points a game, and Indianapolis is giving up 21 points per game. Indianapolis is scoring 14, and the Denver Broncos are giving up 17. So I get the feeling that this is a what do we call it? An undercard, but it'll be a close one. It's
Right.
undercard, they're not that far apart, and both teams have things they really got to get together. So I mean, when one offense is ranked 30th and the other is ranked 32nd, and the one thing that Denver has going for it, again, they're ranked 6th defensively as opposed to Indianapolis at 14. So you're going with the Colts, right?
Yes, I am. And I'll admit that'll be an upset if it happens. But if I go veteran quarterback versus veteran quarterback, I'm going to put my money on Matt Ryan in this one.
Okay. And like I said, I think you said he had a decent game, but I heard some, like, they were throwing some kudos his way. Like, he actually, led some drives and things. So we'll see how that all works out. Okay. That wraps up Thursday night football. Ben's going with the Colts over the Broncos and not going with the bias. All right, Benny.